Hey y'all, it's your boy Poseidon, and in today's video, I'm just gonna get right into it and start talking about it. Evo France was announced yesterday, I think, 27th. Yep. And as you can see in the list of games right there, Mortal Kombat 1 was not included. The big three games typically are known as Street Fighter, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. Recently, Guilty Gear has kind of taken over as one of the big three games in terms of popularity, and other games are kind of starting to follow suit and kind of surpass Mortal Kombat. So it wasn't announced at Evo and France, and I can't say I'm really surprised. Like, you know, with the numbers, like EU, like UFA is a big tournament that happens in EU, and they didn't even have MK at their most recent tournament. They had it last year because it was part of the Pro Tour. Because this year it's not part of the Pro Tour. UFA dropped it. Evo France isn't gonna have MK. And, you know, there's a lot of reasons for it, but it generally seems like a lot of people are dunking on the game, dunking on Mortal Kombat 1. And the sad part is that the people that are going to suffer the most because of this is the competitive community. It's not like NRS or WB is going to maybe they're upset. I don't know, but it's not like it's really gonna matter. Last month they probably made a boatload, millions of dollars on the DLC. They're chilling, and I enjoy Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat 1. I love the previous. I love MK11, and it stinks that we are losing these opportunities. And I just feel really bad right now for the EU scene because they don't get a lot of tournaments. Like, in terms of offline tournaments, like, I can't think of one in the next year that's going to be in EU. And maybe I'm wrong. There could be other events. I'm not sure. I'm sure they'll have something. But in terms of like a big tournament, like Evo, like an Evo France, like an Evo in Europe, that I'm not sure if it's happened before. Maybe it has. I could be wrong. But for the first time for it to be there, for the MK players to not get that opportunity, because who knows, like, people are saying, people won't travel. People don't travel anyway, and I agree with that sentiment, and we'll get into what some other people have said in a moment. But I just feel bad for people in EU who are not going to be able to get that opportunity. It is really sad. If we said we look at the games, we have the big three probably right now. Grand Blue, happy for them. Fatal Fury, I think, is a new game. I don't even know if that's out yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we have Dragon Ball Z. And there's a few things about Dragon Ball Z being there. One is that the release date for Dragon Ball Z was January 26, 2018. That game is well over 6 years old, coming up on 7 years. And this game came out well over a year before Mortal Kombat 11 came out. And we're already on the iteration of the game after that. So we're on Mortal Kombat 1. And Mortal Kombat 1 has been out for a year. And that's with NRS having the longest cycle between games since Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, which came out in 2001. So from 2019 to 2023 was the gap between MK11 and MK1, and that was the biggest gap. And this game came out a year before Mortal Kombat 11. But from what I see and what I hear, France has one of the most active and one of the biggest Dragon Ball scenes. So it just goes to show that if, as a community, you show up and you show out and you like the game and you put a lot of time and effort into it and building the community, that you will be rewarded with events. Because if people talk positively, and I know a lot of people talk negatively about the game, and as they do any fighting game, but it goes to show that if you kind of show up and show out, and even if the game's older, they potentially will be at, these big tournaments, and I'm happy for them that they're able to get this game. But it does generally seem like there is more hate in the FGC for Mortal Kombat than other games. Like, there seems like there are legitimate Mortal Kombat 1 haters, or just Mortal Kombat haters in general. Like, I see people talk about how SF6 isn't that good, or Tekken 8 isn't that great, and previous iterations are better. That's common in any fighting game. But I don't really see people like going out of their way to hate on Street Fighter, to hate on Tekken, to hate on Guilty Gear, unless you're in the community and you kind of don't like the game, or you don't like a patch, you don't like a character. I haven't really seen people from other communities come in and be like, wow, Street Fighter sucks, Tekken sucks, Guilty Gear is a bad game and shouldn't be at these events, and you're terrible for liking it and being happy if it's not there. When it's at most events anyway, so you can't really do that. But I'm going to go through, read some of the comments here. Then I'm going to go over what some other people have said, kind of leave it there. I'm gonna go over some of the more hateful ones that are pretty high on here. Shout out to my boy Peter. It's funny. MK1 sucks. Ha 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 ha. Like genuinely hilarious. 234 likes. Glad the dumpster fire game ain't on here. Tarnishing MK's legacy. MK1 deserves all the hate. Does it? Maybe the game, I don't know. The community is the one suffering, though, so hope you're happy. MK1 is finally dead. I wouldn't say that just because it's not at a game or just because it's not at a tournament. It's not been at tournaments before. Year 2, MK11 wasn't at EVO, and that game went on for a while, although people hated it just as much as they hate this game, if not more. And so yeah, it's like goodbye MK1. You will not be missed. Smiley face. Like people are like it genuinely seems like there's a happiness. Like yes. Mortal Kombat isn't at EVO France. Like, let's go. To those acting surprised MK1 didn't make it, just stop. The game is ass, and people would rather watch something else. You know it, I know it, we all know it. Be honest with yourself as an MK fan. This game is just as bad as 11. Okay, so that's kind of all, I'll really go into. Like I said, it just seems like there is a general hate, discontent, dislike for Mortal Kombat in general, and including the most recent title. Because I truly wonder if we had, MK1 was made like very similar to Street Fighter or something like that, or one of these more popular fighting games, I think it would still get all this hate. Like, I genuinely believe that there's nothing NRS or WB could do to not get it, and they could do and fix certain things, but I think if they fix one thing, then they don't fix the other. It's like, oh my god, these characters are so broken, nerf them, they get nerfed. It's like, oh my god, why are you nerfing characters? You should be buffing characters. And it's like, no matter what they do, if they buff low tiers and the high tiers are still too broken, and they nerf the high tiers, then it's like, oh my god, you over nerf them. They're like, it's like, I don't even know. It doesn't seem like NRS can do anything good. So we're going to go over to Mr. Aquaman, one of the most prevalent and popular people in the Mortal Kombat community, runs one of the biggest online events, and is one of the biggest commentators in the scene. So without a Pro Tour, this isn't really much of a surprise for MK, and I agree with that 100%. If I had to guess if MK would be at EVO France, I would have said no before it was announced. UFA in France dropped MK the moment it wasn't on our tour, and I expect more events to follow suit if things continue to follow the way they are. If everyone stays online, then that's all there's going to be soon. And I agree. Like I said, the Dragon Ball Z example that I just gave. Like if people will come out and show out, events will have them on their docket. And I have talked about this before, and I'll bring it up again. But there's a lot of really big Super Smash Bros. Tournaments that are running fighting games. And they'll always have Street Fighter. And they'll always have Tekken. And they appear to have, at least mostly have Guilty Gear. And they'll have a lot of games. They'll have 5, 10 plus games. And not a single one has that MK. Genesis, huge Smash tournament that was announced, but that happened 3 months after Mortal Kombat 1 came out. And it wasn't there. It just wasn't there at all. So it's just kind of crazy. I'll go into his next thing he talks about. I realize the irony that I myself run online events, probably one of, if not the biggest online event in North America, as well as he runs a global series, which is pretty crazy. But always try to inform everyone watching and competing of every MK offline, local, and international event I heard of to push them online greater than offline. I think I inspired way too many other online events, online tournaments, though, which is a possibility. Shiryu Sundays may not be a thing if it wasn't for someone like Aquaman. And I think there are all these online events. Like you can compete in Mortal Kombat basically every day. I think you can with other fighting games too, but with Mortal Kombat, you can compete in it every day online, basically Monday through Sunday, be making real money, and you don't have to leave the comfort of your house. And you play, it's for, you don't get like the community aspect of it, and the game isn't as good because you have stuff like input lag, and you have to worry about those type of things, like with the online community, like cheaters, hackers, people playing on the same account, whatever. That you won't have to worry about offline. All right, so we're gonna go over to the boy Soup. I actually did a podcast with him recently that will be dropping sometime this week. Be on the lookout for that. But it said, didn't think so many people would be affected by EVO France not having MK, considering how many people refuse to travel for majors a few hours away from the USA. And that is also a great point, because a lot of these people that are complaining, that are saying, oh wow, there's no MK at EVO France, or like people kind of dunking on MK because of that, are people who wouldn't even go to a major if it was down the street from their house. Or maybe they would, maybe it was down the street, but like one that's like 2 or 3 hours away, because there's major tournaments at least once a year in big cities that you could go to that would only maybe be a few hours away at most. Like, you could probably find one within a couple hours of your place if you really look hard enough. And yeah, so like all these people that are complaining aren't really even interested in the competitive community. They just kind of want to complain and spread this toxicity. So shout out to the boy Soup. I think he made a really good point. Make sure we post that as well. And the last person I'm going to talk about is my boy Ben Hooks. I think he makes a really good point here. It says, best thing about 4 Evos is that we now get 4 times the discourse about MK. Yippee. So what he means here, and sorry for the private chats, I don't know why those are open, but what he means here, it's basically like when Evo last year came out and everyone's like, oh my god, MK has the 7th most entrances out of 8 games, like that's not good, like so many people dunking on the game, this game needs XYZ to be fixed, and now every time there's Evo and MK doesn't get announced, there's basically going to be this huge discourse about MK sucks and MK should die and go away. But the thing is that there's people who genuinely like the game like me. There are a lot of people who want tournaments, and the game is fun and it's competitive, and people wouldn't be able to dominate if it was just random casino based, RNG. It's not. There's a lot of skill involved. And another thing I'll kind of go on about how like the community as a whole, the FGC kind of hates Mortal Kombat, and there are people will say like, well, doesn't MK fit into FGC? So you're saying MK people hate MK? And that's exactly what I'm saying. There are a ton of people who play MK very actively, who compete, who play the game nearly every day, who shit on the game all the time, talk about how they're dropping it for other games, talk about how bad it is, talk about how it doesn't take any skill, how the worst player always wins, and stuff like that. And there's that, but then you see these communities like Street Fighter or Tekken, and I have personally seen it at local levels, at offline levels, where there generally is looked down upon. And these people who play Street Fighter and Tekken, 99.9% of them did nothing to get the opportunities that this game gives them, with crazy pro tours for millions of dollars and majors all the time and all of this support and great online and these matchmaking modes and practice mode. And all these things that these games get, it's not like the community that play these games did anything to get those things. They just kind of were given them because they just chose the game that's better than MK. Like, I just enjoy MK more. I've tried Street Fighter. I've tried Tekken. I've tried Guilty Gear. I've tried Dragon Ball. I just don't like it as much as MK. And I never have. And I've never played an MK game and have not liked it. Since Deadly Alliance, since MK4. Every time I've played it, it's been fun in some capacity, and only the last 2 have I taken competitively, MK11 and MK1, and from what I hear, at least recently, those are 2 of the worst quote-unquote competitive games, and I've loved both of them, and I've loved competing in both of them, and I plan to compete in them for the foreseeable future. I enjoy them, even the older NRS games like Injustice 2, I'm getting into that. Very fun game. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think there's a general hate for MK in the fighting game community, the FGC, that just isn't as prevalent in other fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, Guilty Gear, Dragon Ball? And what do you guys think? Do you guys think MK is dead? Do you think it's, do you think it's time to wrap it up? And what do you guys think we can do to essentially help better the competitive community? Let me know what you guys think. Answer 1 or all 3 of those in the comments. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys at the next video.